Please rise. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain. After he sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you and utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
Jesus Christ. Friday night, I worked on my homily. And I had a brilliant homily. I connected all three readings and made excellent sense out of them. But then on Monday morning, I got a message from on high, from my mother. She said, "Kiss. Keep it short, son." Some of you might interpret a different S for me, but son is good enough. In our reading today, Matthew depicts Jesus as the new Moses, the new lawgiver. He gives us these 8 Beatitudes. Moses went up on Mount Sinai. He received the 10 Commandments from God. Maybe when we review our lives at night, it's pretty easy to look at the 10 Commandments because there's a lot of thou shalt nots. And it's pretty easy to say, I didn't kill anybody today. I didn't steal anything. I didn't tell any lies. But it's a little more difficult to say, was I a good enough peacemaker today? Was my heart clean enough? Matthew uses this image of the mountain. We go up on the mountain, and sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's cloudy. But for the ancients, it's where heaven and earth met. So Matthew gives us that image. Matthew makes a theological point that Jesus is the new lawgiver. He goes up on the mountain because, well, for me, maybe for some of you, you've been to Galilee. You've been to the Mount of Olives. and you look, steamboat is about 7,500 feet above sea level. That's the same as Mount Sinai. The Mount of the Beatitudes is 1,000 feet above sea level. Not really a mountain, but Matthew's not talking to us about geography. He's making a theological point. If we can get the first beatitude, blessed are the poor in spirit, the rest of them kind of fall in place. It has nothing to do with economics. It has to do more with our own spiritual poverty. Each of us realizing that we're dependent on God. A few weeks ago, I read a story about Roger Federer. He had a few hours in London that he didn't have anything to do. And he said to himself, I've never been to Wimbledon for tea. So he got his driver. They drove out to Wimbledon. He got out and went to the gate. And a young woman asked him, do you have your membership card? And he said, no, but I've, been here many times. I know a lot of people here. She said, but do you have your membership card? And he said, well, I have a lifetime membership. And she said, that's good, but where is your card? Now, Roger was a pretty smart person. He knew, even if he said, I've won Wimbledon 8 times, the next question would be, where's your membership card? So, kind of sheepishly, he goes back to the car. He tells the driver what happens. And the driver said, well, let's go to another gate. He gets to the other gate. The man says, Roger, haven't seen you, come on in. So he and his driver go in, have tea. As they were leaving, he sees the young woman. She doesn't see him. But he's a good enough man, humble enough man that he doesn't go, yeah, I got in. He just enjoyed his tea. So, power, fame, fortunes, riches, they will fail us. But being humble will always raise us up. Right after ordination, a Monsignor in my diocese said to me, he says, you're young and bright. If you always wear your black clothes, get some French cuffs, volunteer to work on the bishop's committees, you could go places in this diocese. I got home that night and I says, go places in this diocese. Do I want to be in the chancery office in a black suit and French cuffs, shuffling papers? I said, I'm happy now. I'm working with young people. Later on, I worked with college students. Later on, I worked in a women's prison. What makes us happy? Do we want to look for power, prestige, glory? Or do we want to be of service to other people? Humility means from the earth, that we're grounded, lowly. That's where Jesus asks us to be. But he also says, I've given each of you talents. If you have 10 talents, you have to work hard to make it another 10. If you have 5 talents, again, work hard, make another 5. If you have 1 talent, don't bury it. Share what you have. That's the challenge of what true humility is and what false humility is. We come today and say, Lord, we too look for happiness. Help us to look to this gospel. Help us to look to your words to find happiness. We could choose the way of the world, the opposite of humility. Pride. Look at me. Look at all I've done. Look at all the money. Look at my new car, my boat, my this, my that. Or we could choose humility. How can I be of service? How can I help other people? How can I be truly happy? We want true happiness here and for eternity. Follow the Beatitudes.